Thanks for tuning in to Proline TV as we are back talking horse racing and back after a big week last week talking Santa Anita as the Santa Anita winter meet got started and it got started with a bang. It was a really good day. We had a lot of traffic. We appreciate that. I hope a lot of people, and we did see a lot of people subscribe and comment and like and all that kind of stuff. So we appreciate that. John, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. So
Happy
that was
New Year.
really
Happy New Year to you and all the listeners as well.
Yes, indeed. This is our first show for 2025. Matter of fact, this is the first show on the channel for 2025. As we didn't think we were going to be doing the show on New Year's Day, but it's just we decided with the Oaklawn race already set for us, everything was there for the taking. So we decided let's go ahead and get it done early this week. Because the other races, especially you got another Kentucky Derby points race at Aqueduct, but that race doesn't look all that appealing compared to the races that we're going to do here at Oaklawn Park. So I don't know. Is it still cold, by the way, at Aqueduct? I saw it was snowing there a few days ago.
Today it was actually nice. It was in the 50s, but it rained until this morning. So there was certainly moisture in the track. And now they're calling for the weather to take a drastic drop. So.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I'm in North Carolina and we're going to start getting the cold. So it's got to come from the north. So it's got to pass through New York. So I hear you. Okay. So let's just do a quick recap because that big first race, which was the Malibu Stakes, the 8th race, John, you hit that one with the 8 Raging Torrent, who went off. Basically, the horse, when we talked, was a 9-2 shot on the form, but he went off as a 2-1 shot, I believe.
The problem was there were 3 late scratches in the race. So, that certainly hurt.
Yeah, and 2 of your 4 picks were scratched. Yeah, but at least your top pick did win. And Mystic Dan, who we talked about, was a horse that was one of the top favorites. He was the morning line favorite. We talked about Mystic Dan as a real good favorite to pass on.
Yes.
And matter of fact, there were a couple of viewer comments who said the same. Let's see. It was Foolish Prankster said, McPeak says Mystic Dan is a good shipper and will probably be flown to Florida after the Malibu to run on the Pegasus. Torpedo Anna is going to Florida as well with a 20-year-old gelding named Cooper as stablemate. He just wanted to give that information, but I thought that was interesting talking about the next race. And so Zisco Kid said Mystic Dan pointed for Gulfstream, not Thursday. So
don't be surprised if you don't see Mystic Dan in Gulfstream. So not for that race. I would be surprised if he ran it. Yeah, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
And then in the next race, the next one was the 10th race. And in that one, who was it? It was the 6-1 Exacta. It was a huge payout in that race.
I liked the 2 in that race. He didn't run well at all, to be honest with you. But one of the hookups that we did mention was the $70 horse, the 6.
Yes, we talked about that Copion.
Right, but I'm not taking credit for giving him out. But we did say he had a chance, and we were using him with the horse we keyed. The horse we liked didn't run well, but
we did not hit it. But again, a part of what's really cool about being able to provide you not only with and look, we talk about this all the time. Giving picks, yes, that's something that we're always going to do. And if you want to take John's picks, you could definitely do that. But one of the other things that's important is the analysis, just like we mentioned. I mean, you got to go through because everybody is going to have your own personal pick. And your own, I can't imagine anybody's just going, I'm going to religiously go with that guy's picks. You're going to have your own picks and your own feelings. And hopefully we provided you with some information in that race where you said, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to throw a couple of bucks because that's what I did. I put $2 on him to win and it paid out. It doesn't usually work out that way, but sometimes it does. All right. And then in the 11th race, that was a race that we both had the 8 in that race. And that was the easy winner. She Feels Pretty. She actually went off at 3-5.
Yeah. Well.
So, that was an easy one.
Oh, we said she was going to be the big favorite.
Yep. So it was a good day. And matter of fact, I think even the undercard that we did not talk about was turned out to be pretty good as well. You had the inaugural Lafitte Pinkai Jr. Stakes. that race.
$44 winner, but who's counting?
Well, that was you. I know. Actually, keep in mind again. Don't forget, we have links in the description if you want to take John's picks, and you got to pay for his packages because John, you had the winner in that race.
Yeah, but nobody wants to hear about it if we didn't give it out. So,
but that's why you got to go ahead and purchase your packages. So that was Tarantino.
Yes,
I think it was right. Tarantino and the other one.
No. That was JB.
JB's back.
Right.
And Tarantino was second. Is that how it was, or something like that?
O'Neill horse won.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And then, and then there was a few others. I know Hermano Ramon. I won with that horse about a month or so ago, and he actually came through again. I think he was in the exacta in one of those races, race 7.
Yeah.
And then in race 9, Pratt broke the record with the winner in that race.
Correct.
And it was a 3 to 5 shot. And we talked about Pratt was definitely looking to break it, and he did. Okay, so we're talking Oaklawn today. We're doing races 8, 9, and 10. And because of the great response we had last week, our job is now pretty much done regarding teasing you and saying, hey, you got to go there for this or there for that. So here we are. We're on Proline TV. If you haven't found us out now after last week, well, I don't know what's going on. We will continue to post the videos, the condensed videos, especially on our horse racing channel. We'll do that every race day, just so anybody who, for some reason, still hasn't made it over here can still find us. Okay, so let's talk about race 8 first, John. This is going to go off about 4:52 on Saturday, a 6-furlong race. The morning line favorite is the 1, Itachi, a 5-2 shot. The other favorites on the card here are the 8, Good as a Woman's Was, and the 6, Gunflash. The 1 definitely looks like, we'll start there, John. The 1 definitely looks like a horse to beat here. This is a $130,000 purse race, 4-year-olds and up. Again, 6 furlongs. And we saw a 7 in June, right after the horse was gelded. And then ever since then, solid numbers, 12, 11, 10, and 9.
Yeah, he's fine, but I like a different horse to win the race. I mean, listen, there's nothing wrong with that Taché or whatever his name is. Chris Hartman does a good job. He's 4 for 18 to start the meet. He's using Tyler Bacon. I like a different horse, though. I like Gunflash. Gunflash is 4 to 1, and that would probably be my top selection in there. This horse has gotten real good recently. He's the number 6 horse. And let me just scroll down to his sheet, and we could talk about him. But listen, last 2 races, a 9 and an 8. The 8 was at Oaklawn. The 1 didn't run at Oaklawn. The 6 did run at Oaklawn when he ran the 8. I mean, look at his races, 8, 9, 11, 10. He never runs a bad race. He's similar to the 1. The only difference is he's twice the price. So for that reason, I went to the 6, Gunflash.
Yeah, they're very similar. But the one thing, though, that I guess you could say the one thing Itachi has, he ran a 7, but back-to-back single digits. So Gunflash is coming in hotter. The trainer sure is hot so far.
Look at my trainer. He's 7 for 14. He's winning. He's hitting a 50%.
Yeah. But the only thing that I was a little bit gun shy about was the fact that this horse has only got 1 place in 7 trips to Oaklawn.
He's a different horse now. He's obviously a lot better than he was earlier in his career. This guy took over the training for Carl Broberg, who retired. And I don't know, he doesn't run a bad race for him. Not often when horses get better at the age of 5, but it was late in his 4-year-old campaign when he certainly turned things around. He's good. I mean, I don't know. I like him here.
Okay. And then the other horse we were just talking about. Now, this one, I'm not sure why Good as One's Was, whatever. This horse ran
good
one
as I once was.
Oh, good as I was. Well, the fact is the horse ran 1 good race, which was the 8 2 starts ago. Other than that, why is the horse 7 to 2? I don't understand.
I have no idea. I don't want this horse. He has a win at Churchill Downs 2 starts back after this trainer took over. Listen, it's certainly a positive barn switch. He took him from a barn that doesn't win often, 1 for 18, take nothing away from him. But Matt Shearer has been doing a pretty good job. Yeah, again, there's no edge in playing that horse in this.
No. Not at 7-2. That's the only knock I have is why
He's
would I want to bet that horse at 7-2?
he's a play against. I mean, you have better options. Look at the 9 horse very carefully at 12-1.
Juilliard.
Juilliard, but I give this horse a shot to make a forward move. I don't think he's good enough to win, but I think he could certainly complete the exacta.
Yeah, Juilliard actually loves Oaklawn.
Yeah.
12 out of 13 lifetime races at Oaklawn. And 3 of the last 4 races, we have a 10, an 11, and a 13. The horse I like, not a long shot, but I really like Great Richie M, the 5, Michael Maker's horse. I like the fact that the horse, even on different surfaces, just continued to improve over her little career there. And then she got to the point at Keeneland in October where something happened, back-to-back races. Ran a 19, ran a 17, and something was off. And then came back, took only like not even much time off, but came back after the change.
Well, he
Michael
was playing,
Maker.
Mike Maker took over. The problem I have with this horse is the last race was on a frozen track. So some horses like it, some horses don't. And, he certainly made a big jump up on that frozen track. He did have a 12 earlier this year at Churchill, and a 13 at Turfway Park. He's okay. He's 8-1. And
that's what I was saying, because she went 13, 14, 12, and then something happened because she decided they took time off.
Yeah.
And when the horse came back in October, it wasn't right. And that's where the 19 and 17s came from. And then the barn switch comes back with the 12. So I like that, getting 8-1. So I'm going to do 1 and 5.
He's certainly better than the 8,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do 1 and 5. You're going to do 4 at the top.
No, I'm using the 6 on top. The 6.
Oh, the 6 on top. Excuse me.
Flash. Exact is over the 1, 5, and 9. 6 over the 1, 5, 9. Come back, reverse them small. And again, main punch obviously is 6-1, 1-6 in here.
Were there any other long shots you were considering?
Not really, no.
Just Juilliard, the 9, which you took. Yeah. And by the way, Willie Bird, very consistent with 14 and 13s, but you're going to need a little bit more than a 14 or a 13.
Yeah, he's never run at Oaklawn. He's never even worked at Oaklawn, and he's only 6-1. You probably want a longer price. Listen, he looks good on paper. He's got 5 starts, career starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So doesn't run all that often, but when he runs well. And I would want a longer price.
And what did you think about Midnight Pranks, the 7? Because 3 out of the last 4 races were a 10, 11, and a 9.
Yeah.
It looks like so what would you think about those, again, 15-1 on the 7?
The problem is he hasn't been out since last June. And he was running at Lone Star at
minor leagues.
Yeah, minor. But he ran at Gulfstream. But when he was at Gulfstream, he was trained by Jose D'Angelo, who does really, really well. This trainer off to a bit of a slow start, 0-for-8 at the meet.
Okay, so that was race number 8. Again, John's going 6 over 159, and I have the 1 over the 5. Let's go to race number 9, and this is the big one on the card because this is the race with Derby points. This is the Smarty Jones, a $250,000 purse for 3-year-olds, 1 mile and a 16th. Matter of fact, our next 2 races will be 1 mile and a 16th races, 9th and the 10th. This should go off about 522. And the morning line favorite is the 1, Kale's Angel, a 2-1 shot. And the 6 is next, Hot Property. That's Brad Cox and Flavian Pratt at 8-5, coming off a 14 in the wire-to-wire easy victory in November. Meanwhile, John, Kale's Angel is coming off a 9. The previous 4 races, the horse hadn't done much at all. A best of 16. They were all on turf. So he makes a switch to dirt, 5.5 furlongs, and runs a 9. And the horse you would definitely think should bounce here. Plus, you got to go to 1 mile and a 16th.
Well, you could treat it as it was the first start on the dirt. He ran a 9. I don't care so much that it was a big top because it was a big top. But how do we know, though, it was his first race on the dirt? My concern is that he's now stretching out to 1 mile and a 16th off of a big top as the favorite. An old adage in horse racing is never bet a horse at a short price doing something for the first time. And that's the problem with this horse. He's stretching out to 2 turns for the first time off of the big race. So for that
Okay.
reason, listen, they thought enough of this horse to bet him down to 3-1 in his first start at Oaklawn in a $150,000 stake race. So obviously, they knew that this horse could handle the dirt. He got bet to 3-1. There was no reason for him to take that kind of money, and they were right. He ran to it, but now let's see him stretch out, and let's see him. He could win. He could definitely win, but I like a price horse in this race.
All right. Well, the 6, again, you only see one race out of the 6, Hot Property, and you got Pratt and Cox, so everybody's going to run to the window with something like that after a 14 in a first start. But I don't see the value at all in going with a horse in a second start at 8-5.
Problem with this horse is that it's not easy to win going 2 turns first out, and this horse did. The fact that Pratt's coming in to ride, certainly a plus, and Pratt and Cox have had a lot of success. The only problem is there's no value in playing this horse, and this horse doesn't have a race at Oaklawn and doesn't have a work at Oaklawn. So for that reason, I'm not picking him on top, but I would use him simply because of the connections.
Okay. The 8 is not your long shot, but it's the way that I'm going to go. Cole Battle, the 9-2 shot. The horse has been battle tested in these types of races. I also like the fact, more importantly, that the last 2 races, you got a 12 and a 13, both wins. So again, in this field, the 12 and a 13, not bad considering also the horse is the 3rd choice. What do you think about the 8?
The 8's fine, but again, I want a longer price. The barn doesn't win often, but this horse at least shows the work at Oaklawn. He's been working at Oaklawn consistently. His last 3 works all at Oaklawn, so that's a plus. He's not getting the greatest post position to break from. He's breaking from the extreme outside, going 1 mile and a 16th, on this track. It could be done. But I like a different horse in this race, and obviously he's going to be a price, but there are problems with. I like the 3 horse in here, Optical.
Okay.
And the reason I like this horse is because he already ran the 14s at a distance. Last time out of Churchill, a 14 minus. He had a 14 4 races back at a distance. What I don't like is there are no works at Oaklawn, and he's never raced here. However, the fact that he's going to be every bit of 15-1, he's 12-1 on the morning line. For that reason, and the fact that he ran the 14s as a 2-year-old, to me, that deserves a play, especially at the price. And I'm making number 3, Optical, my top selection. I would play exact as with the 1, Kale's Angel, the 5, Mo Quality, and the 6, Hot Property. 3 with the 1, 5, 6. Come back, reverse them as well.
Yeah, the 5, Mo Quality, 2 races, a 17 to get started in October at Keeneland, came back with a 14 in November, breaking his maiden there. So Mo Quality at 5-1 is one of your choices there. And then also, you look at other horses here, and the numbers for all the other horses that we didn't talk about are pretty high.
Slow. Yeah, they're too slow. Someone would have to jump up and run a new top, and I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, the only one that I gamble on doing it would be Curvino, because Curvino has improved just about every race that he's been in. So if someone's going to make that dramatic jump, then
Corvino's trained by Pete Miller, the same trainer that trains the 1, but Corvino at least has a race over the track at the same distance that he's running at today. He actually won. And he's been working at Oaklawn, so he's been steady there. He's been stable there, I guess. So he's okay, but he's a little slower. And like you said, he would have to run a new top.
All right. So John's going to 3 over the 1, 5, and 6. I am going to do the 7 over the 6 and 8. So that's going to be my choice. Race number 9. Now we're going to go to race number 10. And this one is also going to be a mile and a 16th. Once again, you got a purse of 130. This is 4-year-olds and up. And this should go off about 550. Before we get into this one, a few other comments that we haven't gone over the last several weeks from our YouTube viewers. John Lindgren. This was from a few weeks ago when you didn't do this on the air, but you talked about the spring. Actually, I think this was one of your bonus picks, the springboard mile. John Lindgren said, "Thanks, John. I had 3 over 4, 7, 8, 9 in the springboard mile. Number 1, 3 place, followed by 4 and 9, a loss, but that's okay. A good bet." Johnny Doolin said, I like how, now this is important because we were talking about this, I think last week with the Santa Anita, and we've gone over this West Coast stuff many times before. You actually responded to Johnny on his comment on the message board.
Yeah, because I wanted to make it clear. He was like making he was like kind of knocking me. I don't care that he knocked me. You're entitled to knock me, obviously, but he misinterpreted what I said. What I said was that the best card of the meet was going to be opening day. And I was right. I don't think they'll repeat that card. They had 6 stake races or whatever it was. So he made it sound like I was knocking Southern California racing. Well, obviously the guy doesn't know who I am because I do 3 radio shows a week in Southern California every weekend plugging California racing. And nothing would make me happier than watching Santa Anita succeed and go back to their old days when they had full fields and, not the situation that they have now when they're short fields. Listen, today's card is okay, but take Saturday, for example. The second race was an $8,000 maiden claiming race. Santa Anita has never run an $8,000 maiden claiming race on a Saturday ever. So, those are horses coming down from Northern California because there's no more Bay Meadows or Golden Gate fields. So I get it. But so he misinterpreted what I was saying. I was not knocking Santa Anita. I was not knocking Southern California horse racing. I wanted to succeed.
Yeah, I mean, Santa Anita is, I remember when I first get started with you, like 15 years ago, going over thoroughbred racing. And I always just liked Santa Anita because it's just an awesome looking track. And it's just got great history.
Listen, they have the best race in the world. There, 6.5 furlongs down the hillside on the turf course. It's one of the best betting races you could ever find to bet. I love betting those races. I would bet them 9 times a day if they ran that race, but obviously they don't. But and not only that, they have years and years of history there. It's one of the most beautiful tracks in the world. And to watch what's happening in Southern California, it's sad.
Also, again, and if anybody didn't know, and I guess they could check it out for themselves, but Johnny did say, basically what he said was, I like how John says Santa Anita is all downhill after opening day, yet the top 3 points for the Kentucky Derby are West Coast horses, Barnes too. Johnny also said, I don't understand West Coast hate. Gunrunner Derby had same amount of runners as the Los Alamitos Derby. L.A. Boyko said, well done, Greg and John. Looking forward to your coverage of another exciting 3-year-old campaign. And Tony Viallo, 2035. Thank you, gentlemen. So that's some of the most recent comments that we wanted to make sure that we got caught up with because we've kind of really haven't had time. Okay, now let's get into what we're doing here to wrap up with race number 10. And the morning line favorites, you have the 11, Lambeth at 3-1. You have the 12, Sir Greyland at 4-1. And the 4 is Dance Samo at 7-2. So those are the top contenders here as far as the morning line is concerned. Now, this is very important. We talked about this about a month or so ago when for the first time in a long time, an also eligible horse won a race, and we never talk about also eligibles. So we were like, we explained why. Look, it was the first time it had happened in 15 years that we did the racing. So if it's going to happen 1 every 15 years, we'll live with it. And then it happened again shortly after. So we did say that, all right, well, if something happens, we'll just at least mention it. But this is a race, John, where the also eligible horse, Bedard.
Well, he's making his first start for Cox. But remember, the guy that trained him in Canada, Kevin Attard, is like the Brad Cox of Canada. He wins 1 million races. It's a barn switch, but he has to draw in. Obviously, if he draws in, he's a major player. If not,
absolutely. Yeah, he might be the best horse in the field if he draws in.
If he draws in, exactly. But we have to assume he's not drawing. The problem is that at Oaklawn, they draw a week out. So they got plenty of time for things to go wrong, and
well, there are a lot of horses, so only needs one.
Yeah.
So it's possible. But let's talk about the field here as we wrap up. Any of those favorites. Talk about those 3 favorites, Johnny, 11, the 12, and the 4. Who do you like the best out of those 3?
Probably the 4.
Dance Samo.
Yeah.
7-year-old. The only thing that I guess Dan Samo, yes, the horse did win, but the thing that I'd be a little bit concerned with is the horse has 32 starts and 3 wins, and he's got to go back to back at 7 years old.
Yeah, but he also has 9 seconds. But what's really, I agree. I circled it on my form. I could show you, but he only has 3 wins, right? But 2 of those 3 wins were at Oaklawn, so keep that in mind.
And 9 seconds.
Yeah, but again, 2 of his 3 lifetime wins are at Oaklawn. So he's really 2 for 9, not 3 for 32. 2 for 9.
5 out of 9 in the money, over 50% at Oaklawn. Yeah.
Right. So if you ask me to choose between those horses,
those 3,
the 4.
Yeah, the 11. By the way, Lambeth, 3-1 shot. Did run a 12 in August, and since then a 15, 15, and 13. And again, these aren't the best horses in the world, so those are just average numbers. But for this race, that's as good as you're going to get. And the 12, Sir Greyland ran a 10. Ran a 10 at Churchill, but what happened? Because after running that 10, we didn't see him until December.
Yeah, but his last race was at Oaklawn, but he seems to get bet every week. He went off 2-1 last time, 2-1 the time before that, and 2-1 3 races back. So apparently people are high on this horse, but to bet this horse from the 12 post at 4-1, you got to be crazy. There's better opportunities than that.
Yes, the horse has not been any further out than 7th, and now he's got to start off at the 12th position. So, all right, let's quickly run through the horses worth mentioning. The 1 is Winston Wolf, a 5-1, John, and this horse is coming off at 11. Also ran at 11 in May. In between, you have 14s and 15s.
This is going to be my top selection. And the reason being, Tom Amos is off to a terrific start, 4 for 15. The horse has 2 works at Oaklawn. He has the advantage of breaking from the rail, which is a big plus, and he's 5-1. So I made him my top selection. I was looking at the 2 for a long time, but you talk about records. Look at this horse.
Yeah.
17 starts, 1 win in 5 seconds. So he's obviously camera shy and doesn't like the winner's circle. So that's why I opted to go to the 1. The 1's 4 for 19. Again, the trainer's doing a terrific job, and he has the advantage of breaking from the inside. The problem with the 2 was his record, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the only good thing is that the horse does have 5 second-place finishes at an 8 at Oaklawn. But other than that,
but look, that's even worse. Look at his Oaklawn record: 1 for 8 with 5 seconds. He doesn't want to win this horse.
Coming off a 13 and an 11 in his last 2 starts. Forget about the 3. We talked about the 4. The 5, Get a Job, is an Asmussen horse. And you've got Stephen and Keith combining there. Started off with 4 15s and then had a dud at Oaklawn Park last time out.
Well, to be honest with you, the 5, the 6, the 7, the 9, and the 10 are basically all the same horses. They all run between 15 and 17. So, he's in the second tier. He's like other horses, but in the second tier as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, Hoodlum. Hoodlum is a horse that I was looking at.
Run a 15, kind of, right?
Yeah, runs 15s and 14s. Did run an 11, at least got one of those. Yeah. But the horse is used to running in this type of race a lot. A lot of these horses are. But, I mean, the good thing is you're looking at almost 50% in the money lifetime. I know not a lot of big races, but the horse has won 3 out of the last, 7 starts. So that's not bad at 12-1. And it's hard to find a really good one in this race, to tell you the truth. Linebacker got off to a good start. A 14 and a 12 is a really good way to get off to a career. Did run a 10 in August, but ever since the 10, you got the predictable bounce after that. But then the last 2 races, I'm not sure exactly what happened here. That's the reason why all of a sudden it just doesn't look so good.
No, since he ran the 10, he's never gone forward. Every race is worse than the previous one. We landed on this horse, I think, 2 starts back at Churchill. I liked him that day. He didn't run at all. He ran 3rd, but that doesn't do me any good. Then last time out, he caught a wet track going a mile. Obviously, he's a lot better sprinting than routing, because if you look at last year, his race at Oaklawn, going a distance of ground, was the worst race he ran when he ran the 20. And now last time out, another distance race, and he ran a 20. So obviously, he's prefers sprinting to routing.
The 10 ran at 11 2 starts ago, coming off minor league racing, I guess. Is that Indianapolis minor league racing?
It's not minor league. He's run at Oaklawn in the past. He's never hit the board, but
No, but has basically been at Indianapolis for like the last 6 or 7 starts. And then we talked about Lambeth, and we talked about everybody else. Look, if Bedard's in the race, I'm betting Bedard. But
yeah,
the Bedard is not in the race right now, so I'll bet the 7. And if Bedard's in, I'm definitely using the 13. You've got the 1, John. What else you got?
I'm using the 1 in exactas. That's Winston Wolf with the 2 King Russell, the 4 Dan Mo, and the 11 Lambeth. 1 with 2, 4, 11. And again, like Greg says, if the 13 draws in, well, then he becomes my top selection, and I'll put him over the 1, 2, and 4. But
I get a feeling if the 13 comes in, he's going to be less. He might even be the favorite of the race.
Probably. It's Cox and everything else that goes with it.
Again, just quickly, John, 1 over 2, 4, 11 in the 10th and the 9th. John went with 3 over 1, 5, 6. And in the 8th, John went 6 over 1, 5, and 9.
What did you do in the 10th?
I did 7, and that's it. And then if the 13 is in there, I'm doing the 13 like you.
Okay.
So coming up, as far as our schedule is concerned, and we did no Derby. Well, I keep this in mind that we didn't have any Derby races last week, so that's why we're not talking about anything like that. But we will continue to update you whenever there are Derby races.
Smarty Jones, I think 2 races this week, or 1. The Jerome in New York is certainly Derby points, and
yes,
was the race at.
There's a grade 2 at Santa Anita, the San Vicente, but that's not a Derby race.
Is the Smarty Jones a Derby race? I think so.
Yes, the Smarty Jones that we handicapped is, and the Jerome is as well. Okay. And the Jerome actually has our old buddy Chad Summers, right?
Yeah, his horse certainly has a shot. He's improving. He's been on 2 speed favoring tracks his last 2 wins, but the horse is doing good. So
that's Cyclone State, the number 6 horse in the 8th race in the Jerome Stakes. At Aqueduct on Saturday. So again, we're going to recap obviously this race, the Smarty Jones and the Jerome, and we'll take a look maybe at the stretch drive of both races, give you some analysis of what we think about all of these Derby points races,
and we'll have numbers for those races as well. So there you go.
Okay, and then in next week, by the way. We're going to have a little bit. I think there are some halfway decent races where at Santa Anita. Hopefully there'll be deep cards, but there's no graded stakes races for next week's show.
Not even that Gulfstream doesn't have any?
Wow. No, I didn't see anything unless they pop up like late. They don't schedule them until like, the last few days. So, but as of last week, there were not any in Gulfstream. But we will see Gulfstream big at the end of the month when they have that Pegasus day. That's the week of the 25th.
Yeah, that's a big day.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a bunch of Gulfstream races that week. And in 2 weeks, you do have the Lecomte, which is a Derby race at Fairgrounds, and also a grade 3 race at Santa Anita. So the Lecomte will probably be the next big race that we'll talk about. But again, maybe we'll do the Santa Anita races next week if everything looks good. John, appreciate you doing this on our New Year's Day. Again, Happy New Year to you and yours.
Thank you. Same to you and all the listeners as well.
Yes, all the listeners, all the viewers out there, appreciate everything. And we look to see you again real soon here on Proline TV. Subscribe, like, and share, everybody. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Greg. Stay safe and be well.